How to detach from people and situations.
Have you ever felt consumed or controlled by a relationship, job, or situation in your life? Do you find yourself endlessly obsessing over someone who doesn't meet your needs or a goal that leaves you feeling empty? You're not alone. Many of us struggle with unhealthy attachments that take over our thoughts, sap our energy, and prevent us from living fully and freely. But it doesn't have to be this way. This channel is not about partial self. It's about entire self, whole self, complete self. It's about discovering self, fulfilling self, loving self, choosing self, liberating self. It's about growing self, healing self, nurturing self, accepting self, expressing self. It's about honoring self, respecting self, trusting self, understanding self, valuing self. It's about caring for self, being true to self, putting first self, freeing self, becoming self. If you feel there is something missing in self, then click like and subscribe this channel because it's about bringing a new version of your entire self for yourself. In this video, I'll explain why attachments can be so problematic and provide a step-by-step guide to help you detach in a healthy way. You'll learn how to identify and overcome attachment patterns, refocus on your core values, and cultivate true confidence and inner peace. By the end, you'll have a clear path forward to let go of what's holding you back so you can live and love on your own terms. Just in case if you feel you can't detach because you still care for them and feel guilty about detaching, then I recommend watch this video titled, Giving Too Much of Yourself? Fix Codependency, Redefining Codependent Relationships. The link is in the description below. If you're ready to break free of attachments and start fresh, keep watching.
Why we get attached.
Before learning how to detach, it's important to understand why we form unhealthy attachments in the first place. Here are some of the key reasons.
Fear of loneliness or abandonment.
Many attachments stem from a deep subconscious fear of being alone. We desperately hold on to people or situations to avoid feeling isolated.
Lack of self-worth.
When our sense of value and esteem depends on something external, like approval from others, we cling to it relentlessly.
Habit or comfort.
Even when a job, relationship, or goal no longer serves us, letting go of the familiar can feel uncomfortable.
Idealization.
We fantasize that something or someone can perfectly fulfill our needs and make us happy. When reality falls short, we refuse to accept it. A teacher clung desperately to his relationship with a lawyer, even though she often disregarded his needs. He feared that without her, he would end up alone. The teacher's lack of self-worth and need for the lawyer's validation prevented him from accepting that she was not right for him. Recognizing the roots of your attachments is the first step toward overcoming them.
How to break unhealthy attachments.
Once you understand why you've become attached, you can start the process of detachment. Here are 5 steps.
1.
Distance yourself. Create physical and emotional space from the person or situation. This might mean taking a vacation from a job, spending less time with someone, or simply observing your interactions more objectively. Time away provides clarity.
2.
Identify core values. What principles matter most, like intimacy or adventure? How do your attachments conflict with your values? Reminding yourself of your priorities can override unhealthy attachments.
3.
Accept reality. Deconstruct fantasies about a person or situation. See them as they truly are, flaws and all. Accepting reality is freeing.
4.
Refocus on yourself. Turn attention inward to your own needs and goals. Seek affirmation and security from within, not others. Strengthening your self-reliance reduces desperate attachments. 5.
Embrace change.
Accept endings and transitions as a natural part of life. Letting go of the familiar makes room for something better, suited to who you've become. Change is growth. When the lawyer broke things off, the teacher was distraught. Rather than taking space, he bombarded her with calls and texts, begging her to come back. The teacher had trouble identifying his core values outside of the relationship. He refused to accept that the lawyer no longer wanted to be with him and kept holding out hope she would change her mind.
The power of detachment.
Breaking free of unhealthy attachments leads to incredible benefits that make the effort worthwhile.
True confidence.
You no longer need validation from anything outside yourself.
Freedom.
With less clutter, You can live spontaneously and flexibly.
Presence.
You stop fixating on the past or future. Enjoy the now.
Self-knowledge.
Understanding your attachment patterns provides insight about yourself.
Energy.
You have more time and resources to invest in what energizes you.
Perspective.
Looking at life more objectively lets you make clear, aligned decisions. By continually trying to reconnect with the lawyer, the teacher sacrificed his self-respect and dignity. He was unable to find confidence and freedom outside of her acceptance. His fixation on rekindling their past prevented him from living fully in the present. Until he could detach, the teacher would remain stuck in this unhealthy attachment. Detaching doesn't mean you become isolated and stop caring. It simply means you live and love from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. You develop security in yourself so that relationships and goals can enhance your life without defining it.
Tips to avoid reattachment.
After putting in the hard work of detachment, you want to avoid falling back into old patterns. Here are some tips.
Notice warning signs.
Obsessive thoughts, anxiety, or putting someone on a pedestal signal unhealthy attachment.
Stay centered.
Keep focusing within to maintain your sense of self and priorities.
Be present.
Don't get pulled into fantasies about the future. Stay grounded in each moment.
Practice self-care.
Nurture your physical, mental, and emotional health every day.
Set boundaries.
Make clear what treatment is acceptable to you and don't compromise.
Remember your worth.
You deserve someone who values and respects you without conditions. When the lawyer periodically reached out to the teacher, he saw it as a glimmer of hope. But responding kept his attachment alive. By not setting boundaries or remembering his self-worth, he allowed this toxic dynamic to continue. The teacher needed to practice self-care, stay focused on his own life, and avoid fantasizing about reunion. Detaching from unhealthy attachments is challenging but worthwhile work that sets you free to live and love boldly, unencumbered by the past or expectations. Despite the pain it caused, the teacher could not let go of his tie to the lawyer. His desperate attachment eroded his spirit and kept him from realizing his own needs. Until he implemented the steps for healthy detachment, the teacher would be unable to heal and find inner peace. By understanding what drives your attachments, following the steps to let go, and staying vigilant against reattachment, you can break free from anything suffocating your spirit. You deserve happiness on your own terms. With more presence, clarity, and energy, you are now empowered to create it. It's all about self-saving self, recovering self, working on self, making happy for self. Putting self first, loving self, choosing self, freeing self, healing self. Understanding self, accepting self, respecting self, trusting self, expressing self. Nurturing self, growing self, challenging self, empowering self, believing in self. Taking care of self, being true to self, living for self, discovering self, being good to self. If you want to take the first step towards self, subscribe and join this channel so you start a journey for self. Hope you are able to connect with some statements above. If yes, then join us and make this all about you.